Remember these headlines and news reports pointing the finger at Russia and Trump for the DNC hacked emails, which some now credit for Hillary Clinton losing the election? Well, they went on for days and days and weeks on end in an attempt to delegitimize the Trump presidency. Even Obama's intelligence agencies got into the act. It had to be the Russians supplying WikiLeaks with this embarrassing look into the corrupt depths of the Democrat Party leadership. Now, the New York Times and the Washington Post and practically every liberal magazine, newspaper, and network television outlet breathlessly promoted this story. After all, who else had access to this kind of detailed information? Well, the cat's finally out of the bag, thanks to the investigative work of the Daily Caller. It appears there are at least 4 likely candidates who are working in positions of trust in over a dozen Democrat political offices in Washington. In fact, these 4 Muslim brothers were under investigation at the same time our intelligence agencies and the Obama administration were pointing the finger at Russia. Abid, Imran, and Jamal Awan were 3 of the brothers barred from computer networks at the House of Representatives this week. According to the caller, the brothers are suspected of serious violations, including accessing members' computer networks without their knowledge and stealing equipment from Congress. Now, here are a few of the Democrat leaders duped by this band of brothers, if they were duped. Well, surprise, surprise, here's Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the most shrill voice in the crowd, blaming Russia and Donald Trump for her demise as head of the Democrat National Committee. And then we have Representative Cedric Richmond of Louisiana, who sat on the Homeland Security Committee. Representative Joaquin Castro of Texas, who was on both the Foreign Affairs and Intelligence Committees, and Representative Jackie Speer of California, who also sat on both of those same committees, and blessed the nation with his comment in 2014. Wow, such depth of understanding. Well, here we have Representative Andre Carson of Indiana, who was on the Intelligence Committee, and Louise Frankel of Florida, sitting on Foreign Affairs. And finally, Tammy Duckworth of Illinois, who went to the trouble of creating and posting this meme while her own office computers were being raided. Miss Duckworth sat on the Armed Services Committee. Here she is addressing her Muslim supporters in Chicago. Well, besides the embarrassment of having your dirty laundry aired in public, there are much more serious consequences to this computer breach. Remember the Islamic State Hacking Division, which threatened to find and kill our military members and their families here in the U.S.? Just imagine the treasure trove of personal military information available to this Muslim family, as they had access to the most classified information available on Capitol Hill, especially through Representative Duckworth's Armed Services Committee. And these weren't idle threats, as we discovered when so-called lone wolves began attacking our service members. Who knows how much information they already have on file on our military and their families. And even now, as sad as it is, here in the United States, our service member community has to shield their identities online for the safety of themselves and their loved ones. They must remain watchful at all times, even here at home. But there's a larger mystery at work here which needs to come to light. Who recommended these people for these high security jobs, and why were they being paid 4 times what a normal IT worker receives in Washington? To add to this mystery, we now know all 4 were in trouble financially, with bankruptcies and repossessions, yet not one caution came from our vaunted intelligence community that these people might be compromised. Note that none of the major news outlets are picking up this story, yet they're sitting on what could be one of the greatest IT crimes committed in Washington. Why did these Democrat politicians look the other way and continue giving these criminals access to highly classified information? Why did they hire these people at grossly inflated wages instead of just hiring an IT staffer through the Government Personnel Office? Well, let's hope our investigative agencies are asking these same questions and this doesn't get swept under the carpet in some high-level bureaucrat's office.